the know. One tourist attraction in Australia is Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock. It's estimated that about 2.5 million tourists visit the park each year. But how many of them actually follow these sacred protocols? We don't know. If you decide to visit this sacred site, there are some things you need to be aware of before you go. So today, we're going to share with you the top 6 cultural protocols that all visitors to Uluru must follow. We would like to acknowledge the Anangu people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we are sharing this knowledge. We pay our respects to them and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, past, present and future. Now let's get into it. Number 1. Don't walk around the rock. This is one of the most fundamental rules for any visitor to Uluru. The rock monolith has been declared a sacred site, and walking around it is considered a serious taboo by the indigenous population. To them, Uluru is a living, breathing entity, and walking around it is seen as a form of disrespect. If you really want to see the rock, then you should do it from the base. However, if you want to take your experience to the next level, you can take the free guided walks offered by the park rangers. These walks will take you up close and personal with the rock, and you'll be able to hear stories about its history and culture that you won't find anywhere else. Number 2. You can't climb up Uluru. Now, even though climbing Uluru used to be allowed, it is no longer an option. Since 1985, the rock has been closed to climbers due to its spiritual significance. There are several reasons why climbing Uluru is now illegal. First, the rock is home to a number of sacred sites, including some ancient cave paintings. Second, the rock is a place of great spiritual significance to the Aboriginal people. And third, the rock is simply too dangerous to climb. Every year, emergency services personnel have to rescue people who become lost or injured while trying to climb the rock. In addition to these practical concerns, the Anangu people have also asked that the rock not be climbed out of respect for its cultural significance. The Anangu people have been trying to get people to stop climbing the rock for years, and they were finally successful when the government agreed to close the rock to climbers in 1985. Since then, the number of people climbing the rock has dropped dramatically. And today, it is very rare to see someone attempting to climb Uluru or you don't know. 3. Be respectful when taking photos. When taking photos at Uluru, it is important to be respectful of the rock and its surroundings. You may not climb on or disturb any rocks or other natural features. You may not use drones or other flying objects without permission. And you may not play loud music or make noise that could disturb the peace. In addition, you should always ask permission before taking photos of Aboriginal people or their cultural sites. By following these guidelines, you can help ensure that your visit to Uluru is both enjoyable and respectful. Number 4. Never feed the kangaroos. Although it may be tempting to feed the kangaroos that live near Uluru, it is important to never do so, for 2 reasons. First, feeding the kangaroos can cause them to become dependent on humans for food and lose their natural foraging skills. This can lead to the kangaroos becoming obese and malnourished. Second, feeding the kangaroos can attract other animals, such as dingoes, which can pose a danger to both humans and the kangaroos themselves. In addition, feeding the kangaroos is prohibited in the national park. If you are caught feeding the kangaroos, you may be fined. No. 5. Don't feed the birds. Although it may be tempting to feed the birds that live near Uluru, it is important to never do so, for 2 reasons. First, feeding the birds can cause them to become dependent on humans for food and lose their natural foraging skills. This can lead to the birds becoming obese and malnourished. Second, feeding the birds can attract other animals, such as dingoes, which can pose a danger to both humans and the birds themselves. In addition, feeding the birds is prohibited in the national park. If you are caught feeding the birds, you may be fined. And lastly, number 6, do not walk between the rocks. The rocks and stones scattered around Uluru are not just random natural formations. They are in fact sacred objects that are not to be disturbed. Walking between the rocks is considered disrespectful by the Aboriginal people and is something that should be avoided. Not only are you risking stepping on a sacred object, but you may also accidentally knock over a rock monolith. which could release the spirits that are said to reside within them. If you do need to walk between two rocks, be sure to do so carefully and respectfully. It is important to remember that you are walking on sacred ground and should treat it with the utmost care. These are just a few of the cultural protocols that everyone should be aware of before visiting Uluru. By following these simple rules, you can help ensure that your visit is both enjoyable and respectful. It's important to note that while these are the main protocols, there are also a number of other rules and regulations that visitors must follow when visiting Uluru. For example, visitors are not allowed to bring alcohol or drugs into the park. They are also prohibited from lighting fires or using gas stoves, and they must keep their dogs on a leash at all times. In addition, visitors should be aware that the weather at Uluru can be extreme, and they should take precautions. Accordingly, temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius in the summer and below freezing at night in the winter. Visitors should also be aware that there are snakes and other dangerous animals in the area, and they should take steps to protect themselves accordingly. In spite of these rules and regulations, Uluru is a truly unique and special place that is well worth a visit. By following the cultural protocols and being respectful of the site, you can help ensure that your visit is both enjoyable and meaningful. We hope you enjoyed learning about the cultural protocols that everyone should be aware of before visiting Uluru. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're planning a trip to Uluru, we highly recommend checking out the official website for more information. This is Uluru or Ayers Rock, one of Australia's most famous landmarks. And it's been there for over 500 million years, but not in the way you might expect. You see, while it looks like a giant rock monolith, sticking out of the ground and completely bare, that couldn't be further from the truth because what you're looking at is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. In fact, scientists think that the base of Uluru might stretch down as far as 8 kilometers beneath the surface. That means that over 90% of this rock is actually buried beneath the ground. So how does something like this happen? How do you go from this to this? Well, today we're gonna find out exactly that. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to explain how Uluru formed, one of the oldest geological structures on Earth, existing for an incredible 500 million years. It was formed by a series of intense volcanic eruptions that took place in what is now Central Australia, creating massive piles of ash and lava. Over millions of years, these deposits hardened into solid rock, forming the foundation of the present-day Uluru. But it wasn't until much later that erosion began to wear away at the surface of the Earth, revealing the towering monolith that we see today. The exact timeline of these events is still debated among geologists, but what is clear is that Uluru is truly a remarkable testament to the power of nature and the incredible forces that have shaped our planet over the course of millions of years. It all started around 500 million years ago with the breakup of the supercontinent Orogeny. This event unleashed powerful forces that created massive mountain ranges and vast oceans, setting the stage for life to flourish. As the land masses continued to drift apart, new mountain chains arose, including the ancient Rockies, which stretched from Alaska to Mexico. These majestic peaks stood as silent witnesses to the dramatic changes taking place on Earth. But their reign was not to last. Over millions of years, erosion took its toll, wearing away at the mountains until they were reduced to nothing more than a distant memory. Yet even in their absence, the ancient Rockies left behind a legacy that would shape the future of life on Earth. Their weathered peaks provided the fertile soil that gave rise to the first forests, while the rich deposits of minerals and nutrients they left behind nourished the first animals and plants. The breakup of Orogeny also led to the formation of new ocean basins, including the Proto-Pacific Ocean. This vast body of water became a cradle for life as microscopic organisms thrived within its depths. As these creatures multiplied, they released oxygen into the atmosphere, transforming the planet forever. With the emergence of life, Earth's atmosphere began to change in ways that would pave the way for more complex forms of life to evolve. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, another mountain range known as the MacArthur Basin was taking shape. Over millions of years, this region experienced intense volcanic activity as molten rock erupted from the Earth's core and cooled, creating vast expanses of igneous rock. These ancient volcanoes were some of the first to exist on Earth, marking a significant chapter in the planet's early history. Despite their imposing presence, the volcanoes were not destined to remain static. Over time, the forces of erosion took hold, slowly wearing away at their rugged peaks until they became little more than rolling hills. Yet their impact on the surrounding landscape was profound. The volcanic ash and lava had enriched the soil, creating a fertile environment that would support a variety of plant and animal life. As the Earth continued to change and evolve, these early forms of life faced countless challenges, including dramatic shifts in climate and the emergence of new predators. Yet they persevered, adapting and evolving over time. During this era, the first fish began to swim in the world's oceans, while the first amphibians took their first steps on land. Each of these milestones represented a triumph over the challenges of an ever-changing world. And each species that emerged played a role in shaping the course of life on Earth. During this period, the supercontinent Gondwana formed, bringing together what would become Africa, Antarctica, South America, Australia, and the Indian subcontinent into a single landmass. This event had profound implications for the distribution of plant and animal species, leading to the evolution of unique and diverse ecosystems on each of the separated continents. But as the world changed, so did the plants and animals that inhabited it. The dinosaurs emerged, quickly becoming the dominant species on Earth. They roamed the land in incredible variety, from the towering sauropods to the fearsome carnivores. For over 100 million years, they reigned supreme, adapting to a wide range of environments and filling various ecological niches. However, their reign came to an abrupt end with the mass extinction event that also wiped out many other forms of life. And then mammals began to emerge, first appearing in the fossil record approximately 225 million years ago during the Triassic period. At first, they were small, furry creatures that lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs. But as the dinosaurs declined, mammals began to diversify rapidly, giving rise to a wide range of species, each adapted to its own unique niche in the ecosystem. Some became enormous, while others developed specialized adaptations for different environments. Yet despite their success, mammals were not immune to the forces of extinction. Over the next 65 million years, several mass extinctions would occur, each wiping out a significant portion of the planet's biodiversity. But throughout these tumultuous times, one group of mammals persisted, the ancestors of modern whales. Their story is a remarkable tale of adaptation and survival. What sets whales apart is their ability to thrive in both land and marine environments. While other mammals were largely confined to terrestrial habitats, whales evolved the ability to venture into the sea, exploiting a virtually untapped resource. This unique adaptation allowed them to access new food sources and escape terrestrial predators, giving them a significant advantage in terms of survival and reproduction. During the Eocene epoch, approximately 56 million years ago, the world was a very different place. The climate was significantly warmer than it is today, with temperatures in the Arctic Circle reaching a balmy 15 degrees Celsius. The oceans teemed with prehistoric creatures like the giant megalodon, while mammals continued to diversify and adapt to the changing environment. It was during this time that the ancestors of whales made the transition from land to sea, giving rise to the first cetaceans. The evidence for this evolutionary leap can be found in the fossil record, which shows a gradual transformation from terrestrial mammals to fully aquatic whales. One of the key adaptations that allowed whales to thrive in the ocean was their ability to breathe air. Unlike fish, which are adapted to extracting oxygen from water, whales retain their ancestral lungs, allowing them to breathe at the surface. This adaptation is crucial for their survival as it enables them to access the much higher levels of oxygen available in the air, which supports their large size and high energy demands. Whales also developed specialized adaptations for swimming, such as their streamlined bodies and powerful tails. Their limbs evolved into flippers, which are more suited for maneuvering in the water than for terrestrial locomotion. Additionally, whales developed thick layers of blubber, which serve as both insulation to maintain their body temperature in cold waters and a source of energy when food is scarce. During the Miocene epoch, approximately 23 to 5 million years ago, whales underwent significant diversification, giving rise to the major groups that exist today. This period saw the emergence of the toothed whales, which include dolphins, porpoises, and sperm whales, as well as the baleen whales, which include humpback whales, blue whales, and fin whales. Each group developed unique adaptations for feeding, locomotion, and communication, allowing them to thrive in diverse marine environments. The baleen whales, for example, developed baleen plates on their upper jaws, which they used to filter krill and other small fish from the water. Meanwhile, the toothed whales evolved sophisticated echolocation abilities, enabling them to navigate murky waters and locate prey with precision. During the Pliocene epoch, which began approximately 5 million years ago, whales continued to thrive. The oceans became colder, leading to a decline in global temperatures and the formation of ice sheets. This had a profound impact on marine ecosystems, but whales adapted and flourished. The Antarctic bottom waters, which had previously been relatively warm and oxygen-poor, became well oxygenated and nutrient-rich, creating ideal conditions for the growth of phytoplankton and the animals that feed on them. Baleen whales, with their specialized feeding adaptations, were particularly well-suited to take advantage of the abundant food supply in these waters. As a result, they underwent a remarkable growth spurt, with species like the Antarctic minke whale evolving to feed efficiently on the vast quantities of krill available. Today, whales are among the most majestic and enigmatic creatures that inhabit our oceans. From the awe-inspiring blue whale, the largest animal that has ever lived, to the playful dolphins that grace our coastal waters, these magnificent creatures continue to captivate our imagination and inspire wonder. The evolutionary journey of whales from terrestrial mammals to fully aquatic creatures is a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of life. As we continue to explore the depths of our oceans, we are sure to make new discoveries about these fascinating animals and gain a deeper appreciation for their vital role in our planet's rich tapestry. Why of life? So, what do you think? Did you learn anything new about Uluru? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to stay tuned for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.